You're stuck on TikTok Shop and you know it. You've tried all the free courses, you've tried the Discord groups, you've tried the one-time, hey, this quick hack, do this now, but you're still at the exact same point you were at 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago on TikTok Shop. And for some people, you might have even broken that plateau. You might have gotten to that all glorious 10K per month on TikTok Shop, and then what do you know? You're right back to where you were in that $3, $4, $5,000 range, or even worse, you're doing consistent 10K months and you just don't know how to get to that consistent 20K plus per month level. And the reason that a lot of people are stuck isn't that they can't actually do it, isn't that you're not capable of getting it done, it's that you're trying to do it alone. But that's the commonality that a lot of people have who have been successful with anything, let alone TikTok Shop, is you actually seek out guidance to somebody who has been there, who has done that, who has done the things that you specifically are trying to do. And the hard truth is, if you could have figured it out alone, you would already be at that level that you're trying to get at, whatever that may be, whatever income level that is on TikTok Shop. And the truth is, this is what most people would actually agree with, but they don't live by, is that actually investing in yourself is one of the easiest ways to get to where you want to be in the quickest period of time possible. Searching for scraps of free information from here, from there, you know, obviously I try to put out the best content I can on this YouTube, but that's like you being extremely hungry. You think of the hungriest that you've ever been, and your first thought is to go look at the dumpster behind the restaurant as opposed to getting food from the restaurant. You got the steaming hot plate of your favorite meal, and you're like, you know what? I want to save a couple bucks. Let me go check out that dumpster. Investing in professional guidance and coaching is genuinely a cheat code to life. Think about something like blue collar apprenticeships, right? It's the same thing where you're sacrificing the dollars that you're making right now for future dollars to get to where you want to be. It's the exact same thing. This has existed for hundreds of years. And let me give you a specific example of this. When I first started TikTok Shop back in February of 2024, there wasn't a ton of information out there, right? I know arguably right now it can be more confusing. There's a wide variety of information. Some of it's good, some of it's garbage. It can be very difficult to tell like what actually is the good information. So when I first got started in TikTok Shop, the very first thing that I did was actually get into a small Discord group. I genuinely can't even remember the name of it at this point. I think it was like 10 or 15 bucks a month because I didn't even know about TikTok Shop. I didn't even know how to get on TikTok Shop. But that got me the actual basics, right? Although a lot of what I talk about in terms of strategy, etc., was something that I had to learn, you know, myself. And that's another point I want to make is a lot of the strategy that you see me talking about on this YouTube channel, on whatever it may be, on TikToks, etc., it's something that I had to come up with myself, right? So in 2024, while a lot of people were having 50K plus months, I was in my own little corner doing my own thing. You know, I didn't really talk to anybody. Nobody really knew like the earnings that I was doing, how I was doing all these things. And I firmly believe if I had somebody, whether that's just, you know, somebody to speak to, somebody to kind of bounce ideas off of, I could have took that time that it took me to get to the next level substantially less. So for example, I hit these different criterias, right? It's going to be the same thing with you on TikTok Shop. You unlock these different criteria. So for me with TikTok Shop, for a while, I got to 10K, or it was 11K my very first month on TikTok Shop in February of 2024. And then for a while, I was stuck in that 10K range. Again, I'm very grateful 10K is not a chump change. I'm not saying that, but you know, you're going to have different goals as you hit these different levels, right? So I was hitting this 10K per month range for consistently. I was doing it every single month, right? And then finally, after really developing this strategy, I was able to unlock 15K. Then I was at the range of 15K per month every single month for about 3 to 4 months. It's really only this year that I've really been able to really grasp this strategy that I talk about and actually understand it front to back to be able to implement it in a way where I can do 20K plus per month. And arguably, some people would say TikTok Shop right now is quote unquote harder and more saturated than it was in 2024, which to agree can be partially true. There's, you know, some nuance behind that. But in general, TikTok Shop, right? You know, I've been doing 20K plus per month this year so far while it being quote unquote harder, right? But at the end of the day, it took me 12 plus months to get to that point. And I oftentimes think like, man, if I just, you know, would have had somebody to kind of bounce some of these ideas off of, I could have done that in 6+ months, right? And so just to prove that point, going back to it, right, a lot of the people that I've worked with, they've been able to get to the levels of 20K plus per month in a span of 2 to 3 months. There have been people that have done it. I didn't do that. It took me 12+ months. And so that's the whole point of investing in yourself and getting help from people who have already done it. Stupid example, but this is just coming to the top of my head. Imagine how much quicker Thomas Edison would have invented the light bulb if he had someone like, hey, here's how you make the light bulb. And he's like, oh, wow, he probably just cut his time in half, right? If you can go back and ask Thomas Edison, I'm sure he would have said yes, right? So it's the same concept of being able to cut down the time of learning, right? Because at the end of the day, for most people, if you're doing TikTok Shop, you either have a 9 to 5 and you want to get out of it, or you just want to stack as much money as humanly possible while the going is good. Very few business models, and I would kind of call this a quote unquote beginner business model. Very few beginner business models can you actually do 20 to 30K per month. Like, this opportunity does not come around often. You'll probably once every 5 years or so. You can kind of compare it back to Amazon FBA in 2017, 2018, 2019. A lot of those people made a ton of money because they were early and they were able to get on it before everybody else was talking about it in general. So it's that same concept with TikTok Shop. Your time is money. So especially if you're working a job where you're making XYZ number of dollars, if you are taking an extra 6 months to learn something to get to where you want to be, what's the return on that? Because it compounds over time when you invest in yourself, because the quicker you get to that certain number, whatever that may be for you, whether that's 10K per month or 20K per month, you unlock that. And now your goal, your expectation, you do have the skills, you've proven it to yourself that you can do it time and time again. So it's the same concept with compounding interest, right? When you invest something at the age of 20 years old, it's infinitely more valuable than investing something at 35, 40. It's the same concept with just making money in general. The quicker you can cut down on that time frame that it takes to get to your level, whatever that may be, you saved yourself years and years of compounding, because you never really know what kind of opportunities can come about when you hit these certain levels on TikTok Shop, whether that's starting your own e-com brand or just stacking as much money as possible so you can go on vacations with your family, stack money for retirement, whatever that looks like for you specifically. Picture it, right? You want to picture yourself doing the things that you want to do, accomplishing what you want to accomplish, so that way, it makes it easier to get to that next level. And even for myself, it'd be really hypocritical if I'm here talking about, investing in yourself in general. It's something that I even do myself to this day. I'll give you an example. A couple months ago, I paid someone $1,500 for 1 hour of their time. Sounds ridiculous if you think about it, but that has made me a substantial more amount of money because I was able to get valuable information that I honestly would have taken me many, many months to figure out. Now, am I saying that you can't figure it out yourself on your own? Absolutely not. That's what I did myself. But the trade-off is that it cost me a lot of money last year. It cost me 12 plus months of my time trying to figure this out, where if I had just, either met up with people, talked to people, joined a group, whatever, I probably could have cut that learning time substantially. More so, cut that in half, and that would have generated potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars more in my pocket, and who knows where I would be right now if that were the case. So if you're at this point in the video, right, there's probably not anybody left who's saying, oh, investing in yourself is a scam. If you did, well, I'm surprised you made it here at this point. But if you are that person who's like, I just don't really know what I need in general, I've been there, I've been in that situation where it's like, I don't even know what it takes to get to that next level. And the only reason I even launched a program in the first place is because it's genuinely what I wish I would have had 12 plus months ago when I started this in February 2024. Again, that probably would have been substantially more money in my pocket, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I would have cut down that time that it takes to learn. Again, we already talked about a couple brief examples, but some of the students with like Ashley, Tyreek, their videos are on my channel. You can go watch them and what they had to say. They were able to get to the point that I got to in a 75% less time that it took me to get to the 20K plus per month level consistently. So that's what happens when you invest in yourself. Now, am I saying all things that you invest in are good? You obviously got to do diligence to make sure it's a good program. But at the end of the day, that's exactly why I created this, because I wanted to help people cut down on that learning time. And genuinely, once you realize, if you've never invested in yourself before, that is the hardest step to take. But once you do take that, you realize that that is quite literally the cheat code to life. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, there's somebody out there who has already done it. So why would you not pay them to get to where you want to be in general? It's a hack to life, and it's something I continue to focus on myself as I continue to progress and do these other things. So genuinely, if you're not where you want to be, in my opinion, investing in yourself is just one of the easiest, quickest ways to get there.